So, in regards to possible relatives, friends, family of this poor guy, I know of the video of the young kid who says he would basically do anything to be in a Logan Paul video, and that the guy should be honored because he gets recognition and whatever. I have told you about my experience with suicide, and I personally can absolutely not imagine how I would react if I saw some YouTuber filming either of them and reacting the way they did and then putting it online. You have noticed just talking about them makes me cry still, and I'm not even a relative. I'm just somebody who knew them. I personally hope that if this is real, that the family never gets to see the video, never gets to hear of that, because I think it is absolutely destructive for the healing process. And this is not about fame. This is about grieving, having some respect for somebody you loved or liked, who was so desperate that they decided to end their lives. Not everybody thinks that Logan Paul is such a great star and that everything he does is okay. I know that the Low gang is very, very devoted, but not everybody sees Logan Paul that way. And I hope you can understand that for this reason, somebody who just lost a loved one would probably not be happy to see them featured in a video, in any sort of video. Same, by the way, goes for victims of tragedy on the news. I do not think it's okay, for example, right after a school shooting, to interview the kids. But that aside, I think the family deserves peace and the chance to grieve their loss. And I hope you see that the same way. Let's talk about some of the excuses or fan explanations for his behavior that I have seen online. The first one is that he promised to share his life with his fans, that it is real and raw, and that's basically why he uploaded this video, to which I say this is not the right way to do this. He filmed the dead guy for apparently several minutes. He laughed. He put the dead guy in the thumbnail, and throughout this entire process, to quote Keemstar, which I can't believe I am doing, he never for a second thought that that may be not a good idea, that this might be disrespectful. He could have just as easily sat down after the entire event and just talk about what happened, as long as it is fresh in his mind, and it would have been just as real, just as raw, and a lot more respectful. The second thing people keep saying is he apologized for it, which is another point I'm going to talk about later, so bear with me. Also, you have to understand that once something is on the internet, it will stay there. People have downloaded the video, people have re-uploaded it, and the poor family might just as well stumble across this now in 5 years or in 10, it doesn't matter. And it will probably rip open the wound of losing their loved one. I wanna briefly bring an example from my country. I live in Austria. I'm 26. That's all I'm going to tell you. Basically, when I was in school, it was usually the habit of schools with every class during the time they talked about World War II to go to the Holocaust Museum, to go to an actual concentration camp. Now, when I was that age, I was in a class that was rather problematic. We had a lot of boys who were, let's say, not very sensitive and not very nice and not very polite and did a lot of stupid things. And for this reason, our head teacher or whatever decided not to go to the Holocaust Museum with us. And I think it was a good decision, because some of the boys probably would have not behaved in a way that is appropriate. I was 13 at the time. Logan Paul is 22. He should know that this is not appropriate. We, even the boys I'm talking about, at latest at the age of 16, would probably be aware that this is not the way to handle things. Another excuse I've seen is that other YouTubers have filmed in the forest, which is true. You can have whatever opinion on that. I know some people say it's to raise awareness, some people say it's because of a personal experience that they wanted to make to get a better understanding of why people do this. And yes, there is video footage of the actual forest. However, no other YouTuber has filmed a dead body, has filmed a victim of suicide, for obvious reasons. And if they did, this is not about Logan Paul or any other YouTuber. I'm pretty sure that if anybody actually filmed in the forest and showed a dead body, they would get the same outrage. I really want to make this clear. I do not hate Logan Paul. I do not watch him. I think some of the stuff I've seen from him, in my opinion, is stupid. But I do not hate him. I just really think this was a very, very wrong way to handle the situation. So, other YouTubers have filmed there and they did not do this. And he had the choice to not do this, and he still did it. As I've said, he uploaded it, he edited it, he put the picture in the thumbnail, and that's what I'm really not okay with. People say it's that he tries to raise awareness about depression and suicide. He talks briefly about it at the end of the video. He also puts in the link to suicide numbers. Good on him. I'll give him that. That's good. I think it's a topic that should be talked about more, especially in regards to YouTube shutting down videos, to which I'm going to come back to. But still, he also said, buy my merch, which is not okay and basically puts the entire situation out of context. If you want to talk about something serious, by all means do it, but please understand that talking about something horrible, something which affects quite a lot of people actually, and then just say, yeah, and by the way, buy my merch, really makes it seem like you don't really care, which is why so many people have a problem, among other things, with this video. I have talked about the kid who said that that guy should be grateful to be in a Logan Paul video. I'm not going to touch on that again. I'm going to talk about the apologies later in a separate part. I just wanna say that if, and I've said this before, If he really wanted to talk about suicide and depression and give people a heads up, whatever, he, as I've said, could have just as easily sat down and talked about it right after, and it would have been much more respectful, probably more effective. Which is also why I shared my story with you. I briefly want to say that the thought of my two friends killing themselves has actually saved my life, because I've been suicidal quite a lot of times. And what kept me, in the end, what kept me from doing it was the thought of how much I was affected by their death, and I was just a friend to them. And I really do not wish for my family to go through the guilt, the pain, the grief because of me, because I decided to take my own life. I do not wish anybody to feel that way. It is horrible. It is one of the worst parts of my life, actually. And it still hasn't gone away, despite it's been many years since then. So this is my try of turning this into something positive. And I think Logan Paul could have just done this. He could have talked about it, and I want to make it perfectly clear, I do not wish anybody to feel this way. I do not wish Logan Paul to feel this way. I do not wish people like Donald Trump or Putin or whoever, my worst enemy, I do not wish them to feel this way, because I know how horrible it is. And I do not wish you to feel this way. And if you struggle with depression, and if you struggle with suicidal thoughts, or if somebody close to you has killed themselves and you do not know how to deal, please, please seek help. There's always somebody who cares about you, even if you don't recognize it. There's always somebody who will be affected by you suffering. So please, please seek help.